Hey everybody! Today I want to talk to you about something that is one of the most challenging things to do in art is actually photographing your artwork and submitting that photograph along with the Google Classroom assignment. So here's a few tips for you when you are photographing your artwork. Use daylight if you can. It often comes out a lot better than lighting that's artificial inside your home. So if the weather's good and you can go outside, do that. It's a lot easier. The only thing you do want to avoid are some very strange shadows. So if you have some cool light going through leaves or something, avoid those places. Same thing if you're photographing inside, be wary of shadows. Hold your phone parallel. I actually put my artwork on the ground. I know that sounds really crazy, something that you shouldn't do, but find a nice clean spot, put your artwork on the ground and stand over top of it so your phone is parallel. It's truly the best and easiest way for beginners. You also don't want to get too close. You do want to go a little farther away and you want to use the crop feature to capture your image. So let me show you what that looks like. I have my phone set up here and I am going to show you how I'm photographing my artwork. You can also use a tablet to do this. You can borrow from someone else. That's completely fine. But I am going to be photographing my artwork. So I'm putting my artwork on the ground and now I'm holding my phone over top. I actually want a little bit of an edge there. I don't want it to be too close. And then when you're ready, you take a few photographs. You also want to avoid some crazy shadows. So if there's weird lighting and there's some kind of shadows happening, you want to try to move it so you're not getting those weird shadows. So always double check, make sure there's no weird shadows. Take a few extra pictures and then you can crop them directly on your phone. Now, I don't think my phone will let me show you the next steps, but the hard part is getting it to your computer. So if you're using a tablet or if you're borrowing somebody else's phone especially, it's really hard to get it to the computer. On a lot of phones or devices, there is a picture of a square that, I'll try to make this bigger so you guys can see it on this end, a square that has a little arrow on top. And that square with an arrow will send it somewhere. And then you have a choice of different apps or emails that you can use. And I'm sorry, this isn't very user-friendly to see, but I tend to just send it to my Google Drive account. And if you're using someone else's phone or tablet, make sure it's okay with them that you sign into your Google Drive account. And then you can go ahead and select the folder and put it somewhere in your Google Drive. Some people have asked me if they can send it to your email. Sure, absolutely. If you have email and you want to do that, you absolutely can. I think that's the hardest part, is getting it from a separate device and into your computer or your Google Drive account so you can work with it. But that's usually the best way to get a photo. I will show you an alternate that works just as well if you cannot use this method. I totally understand if you cannot borrow a separate device right now. So I'll show you another method, but this is the best. Sometimes I'll just over the weekend grab a bunch of artworks and do a few at a time and just send them to my Google Drive so they're in there ready to go. All right, so let's see. Okay, set that back up over here for you guys. All right, now what the heck is she talking about with Google Classroom? So if you go to Google Classroom, you will see that there's a new assignment. There's a whole bunch of ways to do that. It might be in your upcoming, it might be in your classwork, it might be in your to-do list, but find the way that you find your assignments. And we have a brand new sketchbook cover assignment that says, upload, insert an image of artwork and complete your artist statement. So actually click on every single assignment. And you actually want to click the view assignment part because sometimes there's extra things that you don't see just in the description. So actually click that view assignment part. You'll see that I've included a rubric as well if you want to check that out, and we'll talk more about that. But the biggest part of this is that there is a Google slide for you to click on. And you're probably thinking, well, what? I upload it where? Click on the Google slide and you'll see that it brings up a slide that has instructions. On the left, it says you have to insert an image of your artwork. And on the right, it says that you need to include an artist statement. And the next slide even has some videos to help. So let's talk about the image first. If you were able to take your image on a separate device and you sent it to Google Drive, probably the easiest thing for you to do now is go to Insert, Image, and it gives you so many different options, including Google Drive. And if you did it recently, it might just be in your recent, which makes it really super duper easy. If you didn't do it recently, you might have to search your Google Drive and find the folder. But mine's right there. I'm going to insert it. And then I want you to crop it and format it. I don't want you to just stick it in there like that. I want you to make it fit. If it's really small, you might have to make it bigger. If it's really big, make it smaller. It's okay to cover up that box. You might have to turn it so people can read it and it's the direction that you want it to be seen. You might have to crop it. So if you weren't able to crop it on a separate device, I will show you cropping in a moment, but that's something I do want you to do for sure. And then if you're all set with your image, there's also an artist statement. I want you to complete that with full, complete, thoughtful sentences. Please do not write, I don't know. I would really like you to take your time because you'll notice if you check out the rubric, the artist statement questions directly correspond to the rubric. So the more info you give me, the easier it will be for us to do the rubric together. When you are all done, this is a really strange thing, but you actually have to go back to Google Classroom. You have to go back to the Google Classroom tab, which I find very annoying that there's not like a turn in button directly on the Google slide that's part of an assignment. You have to go back to the other tab or back to the assignment. And mine looks different because I'm using the teacher version, but yours will say turn in or mark complete, and it'll even show that the slide should be attached, ready to go for you. Don't delete that. I did that step for you to make it easier. So make sure you go back and click turn in. If you don't do that step, it's like having your homework done, but in your backpack, and I don't know it's done. You have to tell me that you've done it and actually turn it in and submit it to me. If you don't have a separate device, there is another way to do this, and most of you have cameras on your computer or device that you use for your Google Meet every day because I see you. So you can use that camera. It is a little tricky because when you hold up your artwork, it's backwards. It's very, very, very confusing. So sometimes what I do is I get a little piece of tape, I stick it to the back, and I might grab a binder. I might grab another I don't know, even book or sketchbook, and I stick it on there. But the tricky part is really trying to figure this out because if you hold your artwork up, you won't really be able to see the camera. So what am I talking about? Check it out. So I'm going to go to Insert, Image, and I didn't have a separate device. So I'm going to do it directly on my computer. And I'm just going to go to Insert, Image, and the last option down is Camera. You can use the camera. It'll access it. If you've never done that before, it might ask you for permission. But then this is the hard part of what I'm talking about. You got to kind of hold it up and you have to make sure it's not too close, not too far away. It gets crooked. And you'll notice as you do this, it's like a mirror image. So whatever you do, if you move right, it looks left on the computer. Some of you have noticed that sometimes things look backwards. So it's a little bit strange. Try to do the best you can. You're probably ducking and peeking. But once you think you have a pretty good option, you click Camera and Insert. And then what I need you to do is I need you to crop it and make it look professional. Please don't submit this as your assignment because it only takes a few more seconds to make it look super professional. So what is she talking about? Okay. Directly in Google Slides, I'm going to make this a little bigger, there is a crop button. It's up on the top. There's a whole bunch of little icons here. And there's an icon that looks like a square that has edges that go way too far. I'm a visual person. If you're thinking, what the heck is she talking about? Let me show you what the icon looks like. I will actually do a little picture of it. It looks like this. And many of you will be familiar with that from a lot of photo apps. So that's what we're looking for. It's also right next to a down arrow that says mask image. So sometimes it's hard to see, but there's a crop image. When you click that, it's very difficult to tell, but another black line will appear inside of your blue. Sometimes people tell me, I can't see it. It's not there. There's nothing there. If that happens to you, you actually have to click the picture and then it will appear. So let me do that again. Nothing there, nothing there. Click on the image and boom, there it is. Now it's appearing. And then you very carefully, it takes a bunch of tries, you have to drag it. And when you crop an artwork, it is okay to actually crop right into part of the artwork. That is acceptable. I'm going to try to crop my fingers off as much as I can. And then after you feel like you've cropped it, you click the crop button again. So click the image, crop, move it, crop again. And then I want to make it bigger. I want to make it look professional. I want to put it over top here and do the best you can. Now you can tell compared to my first one, this one's a little grainy. It's not the best, but it's better than nothing. So if you can borrow somebody else's device, even just in the future to photograph your artwork, that's always better. Now remember, you want to complete your artist statement, take your time on that, full complete sentences, and go back to the tab and mark your assignment complete. That is a lot of information, so I will be here to help you. I will even put a copy of this video right on your Google slide on the second part with these other two videos to help you out. So if you need to, you can play the video while you're doing it and go back to certain parts. Good luck. If you can master this skill, it will help you because you will have your artwork from now until 11th, 12th grade. You can look back on it, and it's great because I can see your artwork and give you feedback, and we can work together on your artwork. And I love to do that. Thanks, artists. Can't wait to see what you're working on.